All right, we are back again. Happy New Year. I hope your holidays were delightful and not too stressful, and most of all, restful. I had a pretty great holiday. My wife and I drove to Texas this year to visit family. It was pretty smooth and relaxing, and easily the best that trip has ever gone. We've done it quite a few times over the years. But during the trip, we hit a flea market one of the days with my niece. And while I was there, I picked up a rosary. You know, I'm not Catholic or anything. I'm not really religious in general anymore. But I still really enjoy religious iconography. And I've always liked, I guess, the way rosaries look. And I don't know, I just like that. When it comes to, the iconography and the rosary and such, it's something I've grown to enjoy a lot more since leaving the religion and, learning about it from, like an art, or I guess viewing it from like an art history perspective. Funny enough, I even saw or was like taught to view this imagery initially as if they were like false idols or like demonic, and yeah, I don't know, it's kind of weird. All that to say, now that I'm no longer in that mindset or belief structure, I like the idea of like a physical thing that you use for, prayer or meditation, like a prayer meditation aid. As I thought about the rosary, with the vague knowledge that I have of it, and I fiddled with the beads, passing them through my fingers, the image of clipping bits from sprues, and cleaning up and making a model was the first thing that came to mind. And right after that, this kind of led me down this brief mental rabbit hole of thinking that this wargaming thing that I'm enjoying and engaging with, and have been for the past 4 years, is like a religion in some ways, like in and of itself. I briefly panicked, thinking I replaced one load of shit for another, or maybe I did, but was soothed as I thought about the overwhelming positivity that this hobby has brought to my life, compared to the mental, emotional, and physical trauma I received through church. And just to clarify, the physical trauma, in my case, I'm referring to how those beliefs and ideas transfer to your physical reality and viewing of the world, and even engaging like sexually and so on. It really messes with you. Nonetheless, I couldn't help but think about a lot of the parallels between different parts of the hobby and religious practice. In practicing both, there's a required consistency to them to be participating. While you can do what you want and engage how you want, ultimately there's a communally approved or accepted way of engaging appropriately. You have your private practice of thinking about studying, buying, building, and painting an army, and eventually bringing it to a community-based gathering to share that expression. Obviously, while the subject matter is very different, there's some definite similarities, and funny enough, there's even a sense of created shame that we heap on one another, or even just ourselves, for not participating as well as we could be. Now, the reason I started drawing these parallels is just purely out of my own paranoid brain, that I was replacing one religion for another. The two things, tabletop games and religion, are obviously very different, but while tabletop gaming is not a religion, it is an interesting reality that the actions you partake in to enjoy the hobby has similarities to ones we partake in to engage with faith and religious community. I think ultimately this can be attributed to the fact that we're human and our constructs and practices often have similar structures and they influence each other. But I think I would take it even further. Just the reason we have these constructs is that we use these abstractions to make sense of the world and relate to each other in a more enjoyable and peaceable way. Like, these abstractions are a form of empathy in a way. I don't know. While we're all here on the same planet and we're all humans, we are nonetheless very different on an individual basis, and that difference can often drive us apart. That's not to say that the separation is always merited, but it still happens. It's why we form banners to form under and identify with. It's an overarching identity that transcends the individual and makes a collective. Despite the differences of what is being practiced, whatever it is, religion, sports, team, tabletop games, it is what brings us together. That, at its core, I think is a good thing. For me, wargaming has been one of the few things in my life that has been a genuine and consistent joy and exploration. It's a beautifully multifaceted hobby consisting of something for everyone. At the base, there's the lore and stories that give life to these little figures that we push around on the table. And just like any other literature, this opens up the mind and teaches us, or helps us have a greater understanding or feel less alone and grounded in the world, both the fantasy world and our actual life. Then there's the tactile element of like building and modeling and painting. This is like physical storytelling that brings things to life, whether it's through using the models as they come from the manufacturer or through your conversions and kit bashing to make and tell your version of the story within the lore. Or to use the models to tell your own story entirely. And then there's the playing the game itself. With that, you're creating your own storylines, histories, and battles. Or maybe you're viewing it more as like a competitive thing, and the playing is just a test of your knowledge of the game and the army in comparison to your opponent. In my opinion, there's something for everyone in this hobby, and how you engage with it is up to you. Tying back to the conflation with religion, however, I think it's important not to become too dogmatic about anything within this hobby. There's no one way or right way to engage in this hobby. Find the things that you like and enjoy them the way you like to enjoy them. Be open to trying new things and sharing, but just take it all with a grain and find what you enjoy. For myself, I started to realize what I enjoy most is storytelling through making things that ground these little characters in the world. While I enjoy playing the games, it's often just seeing everything set up on the battlefield amongst the terrain and playing out the conflict that really gets me stoked. But hey, what about you? What do you think? What's your favorite part of doing this hobby? Maybe you don't even participate and you just like watching YouTube videos about it. There's a whole other way of enjoying it right there. Also, what do you think about the similarities I pointed out between the hobby and religious practice? Definitely gave me a grin as I thought about it that way, and drew out a few conflations, between the two. But I don't know. Anyways, let me know what you think in the comments. If you liked this video, be sure to give it a like. And if you want to see more content like this where I ponder about different elements of wargaming, then be sure to subscribe. But that is all I got for now. Once again, Happy New Year, and we will see you in the next one. Thanks for watching. Today is January 13, 2025. Here are 7 dice. Today's numbers are: on the D20, 10. On the D12, 10. On the D10, 9. On the percentage die, 50. On the D8, 3. On the D6, 5. And on the D4, 2. Those are today's numbers. It's kind of weird. It's really fucking weird. It's kind of weird. It's really fucking weird, the things we believe as people.